All right, Christiana. Everybody, please, I'm so sorry for that interruption. Please, it's the network that actually locked the host out. So we are sorry for that. Christiana, please, you can continue.
All right, okay. So let me just quickly do a short recap of what I started with. So I mentioned that we are going to speak on investigating the business situation. And yeah, yes. So in investigating the business situation, you're trying to identify what the problems are, because as a business analyst, you don't just jump into business or jump into conclusion based on what the stakeholders said or what they requested. Yes, it's important that you listen to them, you listen to their concerns, but then it is also better and imperative for you to also really find out where the real problem lies. Because as a business analyst, you are a change enabler and you are there to identify the needs. And then you are using these needs to now discover what kinds of solutions you want to recommend to them that will deliver the value that they really require. So they might not be able to articulate their needs appropriately, or they might not even know what the exact problem is. And that's why you are there as a business analyst. Otherwise, if they knew what the problem exactly was, they might just be able to just find a solution by themselves. But you are there for you to actually um do some research and get what the actual problems are. And so why do you also need to do this? You want to understand what the real problems are before jumping to solutions. You want to identify what the root causes are so that you're not just treating surface level symptoms. What might look like the problem might not exactly be the problem. You might think the solution is the problem, but it might be different reasons that are not making the solution perform optimally. It might be the environment. It might not be hosted on the right cloud platform or the right cloud environment for it to work as it should. It could be probably the staff that are not properly trained on how to use the solution effectively or optimally. It could be maybe you could just pay for a subscription and just upgrade maybe you could upgrade maybe your payments, and then it could probably deliver more value. It could have more components or more benefits. Instead of discarding the solution, we are talking solution this time around. So there could be different things that are making or that are not allowing, you enjoy the solution as you should. So before jumping into any implementation or into any solution, you need to investigate what the situation is to be able to understand where the problem is and what exactly we are going to um do better, what exactly we want to improve on. Is it just a process improvement that we need? Is it a process improvement we need, or a total overhaul of the whole solution? So a proper research, a proper analysis is what will now tell you the right things to do. It could also be that the challenges are even outside of the solution. It could be people problem, it could be, the environment, it could be the maybe the model of operation in the organization that is even, preventing you from enjoying that solution as well as you should. So you need to investigate the business solution situation properly. So it helps inform further work in process improvements, system design, and stakeholder engagement. So yeah, these are the reasons why you need to investigate the business solution. And so in investigating the business solution, there are some things that you should actually take care of. Like you need to do a proper and thorough background research. A thorough background research would enable you understand how their processes are carried out, who are the process owners, who does what, who is responsible for what, who is accountable for what, who should be consulted for what, who should be informed. You want to see their reports over a period of time, maybe their quarterly reports, their monthly reports, their annual reports. You want to see what their manuals are, their manuals of operation, what manuals guide different processes, or is it that anybody will just decide, oh, today this is how we want to run this operation? But it should be documented. It should have a documented and proper approved way of doing things, which should be followed to the letter. So before you now start speaking to anyone, you need to review all of these documents. You need to understand their charts, their organogram, who reports to who, uh, you know, who carries out the approvals for these processes, what systems, what solutions do they use. So you need to do a thorough background research. You need to know what processes are dependent on what processes as well. So is this process, this department, are they standalone? Are they complete in and by themselves? Are they dependent on another department before they can carry out their own processes, or they are fine as they are? Is another department dependent on them? You need to see the interdependency of processes, interdependency of departments. So before you say, oh, this is the problem, it might be that where the delay, maybe you're experiencing a delay in processing of funds from the account department, but you don't know that it is an approval problem. It takes maybe donkey years before they get approval from the top. And then people in the other departments that are dependent on the accounts department just feel, oh, this accounting department, they're just slow. They're just slow. But you don't, so that's why you need to investigate
Anna,
and know.
your slides are not moving, please. Sorry for the interruption.
I've not moved it. I'm on background research. I've not moved it.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, so I'm still talking about reviewing of the organizational documents. So you want to see the manuals, the process documents, their charts, their reports, and all of these things before you even start speaking to anyone. You want to understand the structure, the goals, and the culture, like their organogram. You want to see probably their business model canvas, their goals, their vision, their strategy map, and the likes. So some of the tools that can help you for this is like their business capability model, their technology reference model, their strategic roadmaps. So what do we use the business capability model for? So it's a structured representation, a visual representation of all the capabilities that an organization needs to achieve their goals, independent of the structure and the different processes. So you need all of this. Their business model canvas too. What are the high level goals of the organization? What are the things they want to achieve? Their strategic roadmaps. At what point? How do they want to achieve their different goals, and in what time frame? Between January and February, is that when they want to carry out this and this process? So all of these things are things that you need to take care of before you even embark on any solution implementation or so with them. So it helps you become familiar with the environment and helps you clarify different assumptions. So you have the clarity of what you want to do. Okay. So I don't know if you can see my screen. I'm on types of investigation techniques. Please confirm that that's what you can see on your screen. Types of investigation
No,
techniques.
what we are seeing is why investigate the business situation.
Okay. Okay. Is that the same for everyone? I don't know if I
Yes,
can
it
get.
is.
Okay. Let me stop sharing and share. Okay. Let me see. Okay. Can we see types of investigation techniques now?
No, you are at investigating the business situation. That's slide 2.
Oh, wow. Okay. That has to be some network disturbance. Yeah. What about now?
Types of investigation techniques. Yes, thank you.
All right. Okay. So now we are carrying out the investigation, and then we have different techniques that guide what we do. So we have the qualitative and the quantitative. We have the qualitative and the quantitative. So for the qualitative investigation, there are different examples like the interviews, the workshops, the focus groups, workshops, interviews. All of these help gather different views. You use it uh, to get some information from different people. So you're using it to gather experience, gather different opinions from different sets of people. So these are the qualitative investigation techniques. For the quantitative, this shows it's something that you can quantify. So this way, um you are able to use some data, you're able to use something to collect some information, and then it is quantitative. You can quantify the information that you are getting from them. So we're talking about surveys, we're talking about KPIs, process metrics. In short, there are things that you are gauging your responses on, and then you can quantify the number of responses, you can quantify the responses you are getting. So you can send out survey forms, KPIs, key performance indicators, process metrics, and then these ones focus on facts and data. Facts and data, and both are very important, both the qualitative and the quantitative. The qualitative, that you are hearing from people's experiences, people are sharing their different personal opinions. It's also very important, but at the same time, so you need data-based investigation techniques as well, which are the quantitative ones. So which one are you supposed to? It depends on the project size, depends on the location, depends on the stakeholders that are being involved. Depends on the type of information that you're trying to gather. So that's what determines which one is the most effective one to use. Okay. So yeah, I believe that my laptop is hanging. All right. Workshops. Is my screen moving now? Can you see workshops?
Yeah, yes, it is moving.
All right. So, workshops. I'm sure many of us have been a part of a workshop at one point or the other at some time. So it's like a group discussion where you're exploring different views, trying to resolve conflicts, you're trying to gather different requirements. You're just seeking opinions from different people. And it's a group discussion. Different people are coming together, different levels of experience, and then you are trying to rub mind together. So it can be used at different multiple stages. You can use at different stages. You can use it to explore business processes. You can use it to review requirements quality. You can use it to gather the expectations or the requirements for probably a solution. You can use it to gather the challenges too that you're facing, maybe in a department or maybe across the organization. What are the challenges? What are the things we should improve on? What are the things that can help us become one of the top performing blah 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 in the maybe in the banking sector, maybe in the marketing sector. So workshops help you to explore different views, and then you see that it's by the time everybody comes together to share their different opinions, you would be able to achieve a better outcome. So what are the benefits? It's faster than one-on-one interviews. Imagine that you have to go to a maybe a medium scale business, and then there are over 50. I'm not even talking of a big industry this time around. Let's say just a medium, and they're about 30 to 50, and then you have to walk into each person's office. and you have to hear their different opinions. When you could just gather them in a boardroom and everybody just, expresses their opinion, everybody takes turns to say what they feel should be um considered. So it's way faster than one-on-one interviews. I mean, we are using one stone to kill plenty birds at the same time. And it encourages collaboration. It encourages collaboration. So it's also there's something to be careful or to watch out for. Some people would easily blend and not contribute. So there'll be some people that are maybe more extroverted than the others, and their voices will be more dominant. So you need to be careful. You need to, be able to find your way to make everyone involved, carry everyone along. Because some quieter voices, when they say that, oh, yeah, since this other ones are talking, there's no need for me to share my own opinion, even though they are very uh valid valid views that they could also share. So you should be careful. It's something that is bound to happen if you're not um observant enough. So you need to be careful that some people do not overshadow the quieter participants based on people's different natures. All right, but it is by all means way effective or more effective than any one-on-one interview. All right, now, so we have focus groups also. Focus groups, these are small groups with common interests. Small groups with common interests. We use it to gather different opinions. It helps us discover diverse insights and different views. And then there are online versions that use AI for summary and analysis. So observation is another qualitative technique that we use in investigating the business situation. All right, in observation, the analyst, you as the BA now, you watch staff do their job. Okay, you said this solution is not performing optimally, or this process takes forever to complete. Okay, I'm here to just observe. I'm here to shadow you. I'm here to just see how you just do your thing. Do your thing. So the analyst is there to just watch the staff do their job. How do they carry out their job practically? So it reveals hidden issues like unspoken rules and tacit knowledge. And there are different types of this observation. There are different types. You have the formal observation, protocol analysis, shadowing, ethnographic studies. It is important to ensure that staff feel safe and not judged. So it's not the time where you now start saying, is that how you're supposed to do it? Oh God, you're even the problem. So don't make them feel judged. Don't make them feel fidgety. Don't make them feel tense as though you're an auditor. I mean, that's one of the challenges that a BA faces. It feels like you are there to audit them, you are there to judge them, you are there to report them, so make them feel safe, make them feel relaxed, make it light-hearted, and so let them do their thing freely as they would on a normal day. So you can now get your own inference from all of these activities while just watching them. All right. All right. Okay. So interviews or meetings. So these ones can be one-on-one. It could be a small group. It's useful for sensitive or complex information, allows for clarification and deeper questioning, prepare questions, but stay flexible during discussion. So yeah. So what's, do we do in interviews or meetings? So this one can be more it could be a little more not as big as the workshop, but definitely it could be just one-on-one. It could be a smaller group of people. Is sometimes if the information is sensitive, the information you want to share, the information get, you want to get maybe their financial expenditure for the past year or something a little more maybe more technical, more personal, more confidential or sensitive, you might not need to address the whole organization at once or the whole department at once. Maybe just meetings with the head of department or maybe the process owners, a smaller group this time around. So you can be able to get more clarification. You can do some deeper questioning in this place. So it is important that you have questions, you ask the right questions, and but still make it flexible throughout the whole discussion. All right. And then you could also have some scenarios where you're going to describe a life situation to explore what happened. You can start with a happy day, encourage creativity in workshops to discover real life complexity. So you just need to be able to know how to manage your audience, know your audience. So you need to, so as a business analyst, some of the skills we have: interpersonal relationship, you need to have communication skills and interaction skills. You need to be able to judge, you need to be able to understand people even within few seconds of being in the same room with them. You need to know when to make the conversation a little light, and at the same time you need to know when to be firm. Otherwise you will just go off course. It's very easy because some people can just introduce topics that are off point, and before you know it, you've derailed from the purpose of that workshop. So you need to be able to read and understand your audience, so that you keep them carried along. You don't bore them. You don't make them feel judged. You don't make them feel like, okay, are we just wasting our time or what? So you need to read the room, and understand their body language and all of that to be able to get the best from them. Otherwise, they won't be responsive. They'll just be there. You won't get what you want, and you won't be able to achieve what you're trying to achieve, which is to investigate what the ideal situation is. So prototyping. Uh, so there are different tools that we can use for prototyping. There's Figma, there's Pencil, and you can even use basic tools like PowerPoint, for prototyping. And in prototyping, you're just trying to do a mock-up or a sample system to test ideas. Say, as a business analyst in a software development environment. As a business analyst, you've met with the stakeholders, they've described what they want the solution to do, what the application should do. Oh, they want an application that should be able to, that can allow them log into their personal accounts, pull funds or something. So yes, they have their requirements. You've already documented the requirements. It's also important to also prototype it. And it's just like sketching out an example of what it's going to be like. So I'm sure some of us have seen Figma representations of how a solution works. So sometimes some users struggle to explain what they need. They struggle to. So you yourself, you've tried to articulate what their needs are, but to also validate these requirements, you also need to show them what the designer interface would look like. Oh yes, so this is where your name appears, this is where your details appear. By the time you input this, it's going to give an output this way and all of that. So it's very important that you also carry out some level of prototyping in such an environment. I mean, it's not every situation that will require it. So it supports iterative feedback and agile development. On the go, at the moment, they can tell you, no, this is not what we want it to look like. Before you finish developing the whole solution, and then they tell you, no, that's not what we requested. So say by the time they explained what they needed, they wanted a BMW car. They wanted a BMW car. But in your head, with the way they described it, you were able to articulate that, oh, what they want is a truck. If you do not show them a sort of prototype, or you do not have a session where you're going to validate this requirement with them, you would have created your truck wasted your effort, your resources, and all of that. And by the time you give it to them, they will return it or reject it. So it helps iterative feedback, and on the go, you can quickly make changes and adapt to what they actually want. So prototyping is very important in understanding what your clients or what your customers want. Okay. Another important one is user role analysis. User role analysis. Here, you are trying to identify the types of users and what they need. Who are going to be the users of the solution? Who are the users involved in that process? And what are their involvements, their levels of involvement? And what are the things they need? So on this solution, what's parts? So let's talk of an ERP solution like we do. So for an accountant, what part of the solution is useful to this user? What part is useful to the marketing staff? What part is useful to the admin, to the HR? So you want to identify the different types of users, their behaviors, their expectations. The expectations are very important, and it's very important to also know what they expect and ensure that you are meeting the expectations. So is this person a customer? Is this person a supplier? Is this person an employee? So for someone that is probably an admin, you know that there are some rights, maybe some access rights that this person would have differently from somebody that is just a visitor to that website or to that solution, somebody that is just a customer. So of course there will be some access rights that would be denied just an external visitor. There are some things that they are supposed to see. So you need to be able to understand the user role analysis, different personas, user personas. You need to know, okay, as a customer, I want to be able to input my location for delivery. I should be able to select what item I want on your website. I should be able to check out, or I should be able to add things to my cart. So as the admin, I should be able to approve different actions on the solution or on the website. So you need to understand the different user rules and do a thorough analysis of different user personas. So it supports more targeted requirements and personas. It helps find shared interests and conflicting needs. It helps find shared interests and conflicting needs. All right, storytelling is another one. It helps and encourages people to share their real life stories and experiences. Helps for useful discovering of culture, emotions, and hidden blockers. It is usually more revealing than formal questioning. Okay, now for the quantitative techniques now. You want to use data to back up what people say. You want to use data to back up what people say. You are trying to gather, or you want to track the number of visitors to your website. How many people are visiting the website? How many people are clicking on this ad? What's the demographic nature of the visitors of this what's it called, of this audience? Who are the audience? What are their interests? What are their other interests? So you're using data to back up what people see. So it's not enough that, people say they like this product. People say they like your brand or your products, but how many people are really visiting your page? How many people are interacting with you? How many people are engaging your page? Or how many people are really visiting your page? So you use the data to back up what people say, and then it includes your surveys, activity sampling, performance metrics. And this helps validate assumptions and define the problems. So what happens is it that you have a lot of traffic on your page, but then zero what's it called, nobody's buying, nobody's actually buying. So what's the problem? Is it that when they try to make payments, or when they try to select the item, is it that the product is not affordable, or is it that there is an error? Is it that there is an error that people are not able to confirm or end their bargain or something? Or is it that there is no response? So you need to be able to, it helps us to validate the assumptions and define what the problems exactly are. Okay, so in recording business situations, you want to document your findings clearly with meeting notes, diagrams, and models, confirmed outputs shared with stakeholders, and all of this support understanding and traceability. So mind map, rich pictures that show people's emotions, different systems. Mind map also is a visual layout of concepts and connections. It's a visual layout of concepts and connections where people are able to, I don't know if many of us are conversant with Xmind. Xmind is a great tool that helps you can use it to map out your, maybe your opinions or your ideas. You can use it to map out your ideas. And then fishbone, we use fishbone for root cause analysis. We use fishbone for root cause analysis, and it helps you to identify what the primary causes are and what the secondary causes are, because problems do not just happen. There are probably underlying causes for each of these problems. So the fishbone diagram, so maybe on your phone or your laptop, you can just type a fishbone diagram, and then you see different samples of it where you are seeing the actual problem and you are seeing the different things that could be causing that problem. Just like the skeleton of a fish, sorry. So 5 whys is also used to identify the root cause, where you're using it to ask why until you find out what the real cause is. So you use it to identify what the real cause is. Why is this thing happening? Okay, so why is it that this solution, okay, why don't people buy from our brand? Okay, maybe because the price is high. Why is the price high? Or maybe because the raw materials used are difficult to find and very expensive as well. Why? You just keep asking the whys until you understand where the real problem lies. All right. So now, when to use each technique? It's not cast in stone, but then these are best, what's it called? These are the best ideas. So when to use each of the techniques? For workshops is best for group discussion and shared understanding. So, it could be departmental wide, be organizational wide, blah, blah, blah. Interviews for sensitive or expert knowledge. Maybe you just need to meet with the process owner or the technical expert, or maybe, just a key user. So these interviews can be best for such sensitive or expert knowledge. Then for the observation, reality versus perception. Okay, this is what they said the problem is. But by the time you're observing, you might be able to get one or two that they've not said. So in observation, you're able to actually get what the reality of the problem and the perceived problem as well. So prototyping helps you to clarify your requirements, or this is what I want my application to look like, this and that. But then by the time you do the prototyping, if it's not what they really want, changes can be made clear easily. Then scenarios, it explores processes and exceptions. Surveys helps you gather facts from many people. You gather facts from many people, and This is a very good guide as to understanding the situation of things. Then storytelling gives cultural or personal insights, personal opinions of people, their journey and why they probably want it this way. So storytelling is it. So yeah, so I just have like an example here. Maybe a university experiences rising dropout rates among second year students. The university experiences rising dropout rates among second year students. And so for our business capability model, we're able to use different parameters like the students support services, the academic advisory, the learning management system. We used all of this to identify different areas for their quantitative and their qualitative, using their qualitative and quantitative techniques. And then the results now helped us to understand that there are not enough early warning systems to flag struggling students. Students lack mentorship and they feel disconnected. And there was the outcome, or what should be the recommendation. We say new capabilities should be introduced in academic monitoring and student engagement, and it will help the dropouts to drop by 30%. So I don't know if there are questions. I don't know if there are questions. I don't know if there are questions for me before we
Please
finally.
feel free to ask. We are in the question and answer segment now. Feel free to ask her your questions. Thank you.
Okay, so if you don't have questions, anyway, so I just want to buttress on some of the things I mentioned. So today we learned about investigating the business situation, the business situation. And so we said it's very important that you do a background research, and we also dived into different quantitative and qualitative techniques that can be used. So now for that example that I gave, that's in university in experienced a very high level of dropouts. And so for the quantitative analysis techniques that we gave examples, we said for the qualitative, it talks about people and their experiences. So we mentioned the focus groups, the interviews, the observation, the storytelling, and yeah, and the likes. So an example of that is that maybe for the interview, you can have one-on-one sessions with the academic advisors, or maybe with the students that have dropped out, or maybe with the faculty, say faculty of linguistics now, or maybe faculty of arts. I think that's a better faculty of arts. Okay, for the qualitative analysis now, how many people do you, maybe their course advisors, so how many, you can have one-on-one sessions with them and say how many dropouts do you have per year. So that's a good example of where to use the interview. And you see that the advisors will be able to give a better guide. So for the focus groups, you could meet with maybe second year students or maybe first year students and hold sessions with them and say, ask them questions. Is it that they're overwhelmed with their studies? Is it that they're struggling to pay their fees? Blah, blah, blah. So these are examples of how you can use qualitative analysis techniques. For observation, you can shadow your students for one day to understand how they navigated campus. Is it that they usually from home go to other places instead of going to their lecture rooms? Or is it that they cannot even afford transportation to their lecture rooms? Or is it that you can do some level of observation to see how people conduct themselves? You can also use storytelling. You can invite some students to share a day in their life. I mean, on social media now, a day in the life of a university student struggling with SAPA or something. So you can also do some level of storytelling. So this storytelling will help reveal emotional burnouts and maybe any other issues that they experience. For the quantitative analysis techniques, we mentioned surveys, performance metrics, KPI, review, activity sampling. So maybe you can then, for surveys, you can do a digital survey where you go to their departments, that faculty of maybe arts and humanities now, share questionnaires or, send them links, digital survey links, to understand their workload, gather feedback on their workload, their well-being, the challenges they face. So you'll be able to gain insight as to probably why some of them are not motivated to go to school. And you will be able to understand why there's a high level of dropouts in the university. So another example is maybe their attendance rate, your performance metrics, maybe attendance rates of the class of 50 people. We expect 50 people to attend, but then maybe the attendance, maybe just 20 people that are filling the attendance regularly. Or maybe they have learning management system and then 50 of them are meant to actually log in. But at the end of the day, we realize that it's just 20 people that are still logging in. So you would understand, you'll be able to get the trend and see how this dropouts is being, how it comes to play. So these are performance metrics you'll be able to tell with time. And so you'll be able to
Christina, you
understand.
have some questions.
Okay.
Okay, so the first question says, I will give the opportunity for some persons to unmute and ask, but the first question says, does a business analyst role include expansion and sales?
Expansion and sales.
Yeah.
So by the time you are analyzing or improving people's processes or people's businesses, we expect that it should eventually lead to process improvement. It should lead to better productivity and yes, eventually expansion of sales. But it is not really your role to, it depends on the organization now, but it is not your role to actually go for the sales. But what you are improving is to make the business better and help their turnover eventually. So yes, it will help in the expansion of their sales and, help the company or the organization perform better, even in terms of their rollover or this thing, financial performance. I don't know if that
Okay.
answers the question.
I hope that answers your question, Elizabeth.
You have what?
Someone else wants to ask. I don't know if Isaac can unmute himself. Isaac, are you there? Can you unmute yourself to ask your question? Okay, I think you still have some questions in the chat room.
Okay, let me see if I can view it. Okay. You said, okay, I saw one. Which technique is the most appropriate and efficient based on or your experience for investigation techniques? See, it depends on the audience, it depends on the project, it depends on the stakeholders. All of them are effective. All of them are effective. All of them are effective, but most times interviews, workshops, they never fail. Interviews, workshops, because that interview, so let's say you do a workshop first of all, and then you do an interview to validate this. Maybe you do a workshop with the whole department to maybe gather some insight, and then you now do an interview with maybe top or edge of the department. So you are trying to validate maybe what these requirements could be or what the challenges could be. So, but it depends on the situation actually.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Damola, please, can you unmute them? I think we will just take two more questions and then we round off for this session. Please unmute Bisola and also unmute who again? I think Isaac's hand was up. Please do so. Thank you.
Yeah, hello. Sorry. Thank you, Ma, for the wonderful teaching. I think you've answered one of my first question, but the second one, I was trying to ask what subject matter are relevant to facilitate this investigation of business. You know, from your lecture, I'm observing something like you need a statistics background or understanding to data, more or less like a data analyst. Are all those skills relevant in this field? Thank you.
Sorry, can you take your question again? I didn't
Okay.
get.
All right. I'm saying that based on your lecture, I observed that there are some subject matters like statistics, data analytics that are very needed for you to really understand and investigate businesses. So I wanted to know what are some of these subject areas that one needs to build around as a foundation in order to become a best or a good business analyst. Thank you.
Okay, so it's good for you to understand the should I say the industry, like industry knowledge is one of the skills or the competencies of a business analyst. Industry knowledge. You are going to work with a banking, organization. You should have an idea of the banking sectors, banking terminologies, how the processes within a bank or service, how they do their operations, so something like that. And also maybe the legal or regulatory rules that guide maybe that environment. The ones in Ghana will be different from the ones in Nigeria. So these are some of the things that would help you understand the business that you're working with in terms of getting or doing a background research. You understand what I'm saying? Do you understand what I mean by that? And you could go to their websites, understand, what their services are, what their clientele should be, and the likes. I don't know if that answers your question, Mr. Isaac.
I think that we'll just take one more because we're already shooting into the last session and the time. So there is a question here by Elizabeth. She says, is it possible we have like a practical engagement assignment after during the course? Does the storytelling comes from the business analysis or stakeholders?
From the stakeholders. From the
Okay.
stakeholders. Thank you. So
Okay.
for the other question, I think Messi can answer that.
Okay, we will have to reach out to you people on your various groups for that. Okay, please. We are no longer taking any more questions. So, Covenant, we are sorry for that. Please, a round of applause to Christiana. Thank you so much, Christiana, for a beautiful delivery. A round of applause to her.
Thank you very
And
much.
then, thank you. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. All right, everyone. Thank you for sticking by up till this moment.